Trademark color. 11. Desert roses. Sting wasn't making it up. There really is such a thing as a desert rose. It's a special form of the mineral gypsum that can develop in dry sandy places that occasionally flood. The switching between wet and dry lets gypsum crystals form between grains of sand, trapping them. 12. Giant permafrost explosions. As the climate is changing, new phenomena are developing, none quite so explosively as this one. It turns out that if you heat frozen methane trapped in the Siberian permafrost enough, it turns into a gas, eventually building up so much pressure that the ground explodes. The loud boom and giant hole these bursts create were first reported in 2013. 13. Rainbow eucalyptus. Hailing from the Philippines and Indonesia, the rainbow eucalyptus, also known as the rainbow gum, is probably the most colorful tree on Earth. Its striped look is caused by bark turning colors and peeling away as it ages. The youngest bark is bright green because it contains chlorophyll, usually found in leaves, then turns first purple, then red, then brown as it gets older, loses chlorophyll, and picks up tannins, also found in wine. In an ironic twist, huge amounts of rainbow eucalyptus wood pulp is turned into white paper every year. 14. Eye of the Sahara. Formerly known as the Anquat Richtat structure, Anquat, the Eye of the Sahara is in Mauritania. Scientists are still trying to confirm how it was formed, but they think it's the eroded remains of a giant dome of rock. If so, it would have originally formed when magma pushing up towards the surface of the Earth created a bulge, like a pimple. Each band of the ring is made of a different type of rock that erodes at a different speed. It's also the Anquat, almost home Anquat, signal for astronauts landing in Florida. In fact, astronauts are mostly responsible for teaching us there's something there in the first place, since the formation is difficult to recognize when you walk over it. 15. Giant snake orgies. Maybe you don't really like snakes, but how do you feel about tens of thousands of harmless snakes waiting out the winter in underground limestone dens? That's a real thing in Manitoba, Canada, home of the highest concentration of snakes in the world, according to National Geographic. In May, they slither out of their nests to mate, with dozens of smaller male snakes lurking, waiting to ambush larger females. And quote. Imagine trying to find a slightly bigger piece of spaghetti in a colander of spaghetti, and it's moving, and quote. Bob Mason, a scientist at Oregon State University, told the New York Times this spring. 16. Bright red Lake Natron. Lake Natron, in Tanzania, can hit 140 degrees Fahrenheit and, thanks to a nearby volcano, alkalinity at the level of pure ammonia. That means it's almost deserted, except for a particularly hardy fish, the microbes that make it look red, and lesser flamingos. The birds actually use the lake as their only breeding ground, not just because they're color coordinated, but because there aren't very many predators around to eat the chicks. But animals that do die in the lake end up so coated in baking soda and similar chemicals that they look like they've been turned to stone. 17. Waterspouts. Waterspouts look like liquid tornadoes, but while they can form during storms, they can also develop on calm, open ocean. Swirling towers of wind climbing up from the water to the sky. They are most common in the Florida Keys, although they've also been spotted on the Great Lakes. 18. Clonal tree groves. That looks like a forest, right? All those trees you could walk between? Wrong. It's all one tree. Underneath the soil, a dense network of roots connects all the shoots that look like 47,000 trees from above. Called the quaking aspen for its fluttery leaves, it usually grows into groves of identical clones, although it can reproduce sexually on special occasions. This grove, nicknamed Pondo, is one of the oldest and largest organisms in the world, although the original stem is long dead by now. 19. Lake Maracaibo, lightning capital of the world. Lake Maracaibo in Venezuela sees more lightning strikes than anywhere else on Earth. In fact, there are thunderstorms here 300 days out of the year, according to a recent NASA study. The area is so stormy because cool mountain breezes and warm, moist air clash over the lake, creating electricity. 20. Eternal Flame Falls. In upstate New York, near the Canadian border, there is a small waterfall hiding a big surprise, a chute of fire about 8 inches tall. Behind the waterfall is a natural gas seep that feeds the flame. It's sheltered enough by the waterfall to stay lit pretty reliably, although hikers do relight it if they see it's been blown out. We should note that it's not 100% natural, but too cool to skip. These burning gas seeps are actually fairly common, but this one is more interesting in younger than most, and very photogenic. 21. Spotted Lake. Canada's Spotted Lake is famous for its summer style, which is heavy on the polka dots. That's because the lake's water actually evaporates every summer. It leaves behind large spots, colorful deposits of a dozen minerals. Further proof Spotted Lake is out of this world. Scientists are using it as a model for how ancient Martian lakes may have worked. 22. Goats. In trees. Moroccan goats have learned to climb trees in order to better snack on their tasty argan fruit. Local farmers like the goats so much, and their argan nut-filled poop, which the farmers turn into oil, that they've brought more goats in to enjoy the buffet. 23.